Hi, welcome back to the Weekly Why. This week we have Parsha Mishpatim. So this week we have the Jews in Egypt a little after their exodus, and this parsha, there's no real, not a lot of narrative, so to speak, but a lot of laws are given. So a lot of the laws are given in this parsha, some of which are the laws of treating a stranger, some marital laws, the laws over workers and slaves, things like that. Now, one of the ideas I want to just examine for a couple moments. There's not once, but at least twice, according to just my reading here, that the Torah tells us, do not wrong or oppress a stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. So a lot of people have discussed this, and certainly there's a lot to discuss about it. It's a very interesting remark, because this is really encapsulates one of the central core essences or values in Judaism, and that would be sensitivity. So you imagine you have a group of people who just experienced 210 years of brutal slavery in the land of Egypt, okay? You have just an incredible amount of suffering that they've had, and then they finally got out, and then they had, the entire Egyptian army try to kill them even once they've let them out. So you can imagine just the incredible amount of hostility and anger they must have felt. And yet here, almost immediately after they've left, Moses tells the Jewish people you have to have a level of sensitivity. And why? Because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. So you have to treat strangers you can't wrong or abuse strangers because you were strangers to them. And so, again, as I said, this demonstrates a real core doctrine in Judaism is about sensitivity. We need to examine just kind of what sensitivity is, what that means. Sensitivity is not a natural born trait. So for these people, as we said, these people would be the last people in the world who would ever consider treating strangers well. I mean, it's like whenever you see, dogs, that have attacked a child on the news, these dogs you always read have been abused, they've, one thing into another. And then these dogs are just, they go and attack a child, right? So same thing, you have these people who have been abused and beaten for 210 years. They're the last people in the world who you think could possibly treat others well. And yet that's exactly the point. Moses says to them, you more than anybody, the people who have been abused, the people who would have the most excuse to treat others poorly, no, you have the least flexibility in treating others badly. You more than anybody need to treat others well. And so that's a lesson for us, is that no matter how much really we've been treated badly by others, we still have that absolute obligation to treat strangers and indeed everyone with that level of respect and sensitivity. So what does sensitivity mean? As we said, it's not a natural born trait. As I said, if it were, Moses wouldn't have told the Jews to have it, since they would be the last people logically who would. It means two things. One is stopping and recognizing that, for example, even if you disagree with somebody, you realize that God ultimately is the ultimate judge. So you might disagree, you might think someone is 100% totally wrong, but ultimately you have to stop and say, you know what, there's only so much I know, ultimately it's up to God. And secondly, you say, okay, that sounds very nice and good, but how do I go about this? I think it's just a matter of just training yourself to stop and think, what are some of the implications of what I'm saying? How will this affect not just the person I'm talking to or the person I'm interacting with, but all those around them? You might disagree with somebody, and you might say something you regret, and even if that person can take it, the others around them might think of that in a very different way and have a negative view, therefore, of you and what Jews stand for, and just it could be a whole mess. So again, that's sensitivity. It's just a matter of stopping and thinking. Now, just in terms of some background about what I mean and what helps demonstrate the Jewish value of sensitivity, for example, the laws of kashrut, kosher laws, or the laws of Shabbat. These are very intricate laws, for example, which means that when we're eating, we can't just shovel anything we see in our mouths. Again, observant Jews say a blessing before eating food and then after eating food. And it doesn't just mean they can eat anything, they have to eat kosher food. It has to be on certain plates. So again, this is a matter of sensitivity, to be careful and sensitive about what you shovel in your mouth. Again, with the laws of Shabbat. Religious Jews, for example, won't flip on a light switch on Shabbat. What that means is to have a certain level of sensitivity, even just flipping over a light switch and stopping and realizing, no, I can't do that because that breaks the laws of Shabbat. Asher Yatzar, for example. Asher Yatzar is a blessing that many religious Jews say after leaving the bathroom, just thanking God that all their faculties work and their body works fine. Again, that demonstrates again the incredible amount of sensitivity in Judaism, that even when we do something so small, which we do every day, many times a day, we just stop and realize, just wow. Again, it's stopping and recognizing the reality in the world, and so that's an incredible thing, and that's really what sensitivity is about, and what this message from Moses to the Jews is talking about, yes, you were abused in Egypt, but you need to stop and recognize, again, get past that emotional block where you know you've been beaten really badly, and think logically here that you need to treat others well, despite the fact that you yourself have been abused. So again, the lessons for us and the practical advice for us is to stop and realize, if we're not going to just flip on a light switch on Shabbat and just shovel anything in our mouth, we certainly shouldn't be treating the people with the same cavalier attitude if we don't treat even food or light switches that way. Okay, so that's the key lesson for Parsha Mishpatim this week. Have a good week. Shabbat Shalom and take care.